True Sports episode 15 is on the air. I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Louis Tenore. Live coverage of Clemson at Georgia Tech. Clemson, number 4 ranked, is up 17-10 with 4:32 left to play in the third quarter. It's 1st and 10. Don't know who has the ball yet, but let me see here. That's Georgia. Nope, that's Clemson's ball right now. 1st and 10, Clemson. That possession arrow is so small.
Yeah, microscope to see through it.
Yep. Clemson's heading left to right on their own 26-yard line. But the rest of week 1 college football, your thoughts?
Well, a lot of it, was like what I expected. I expected the Notre Dame Ohio State game not to be a blowout, so that kind of went the way I thought. But I think the biggest game was last night when Florida State went for a tie game and missed by the extra point. Oh man, I'm like, what?
It's happened before.
Yeah, but to end the game like that, wow.
Yeah, it happened with the Jaguars and Saints like years ago.
Yeah, but this was like for college ball, and they were trying to tie it up, which is almost a sure thing was going to happen, and then all of a sudden, just a little bit off. But of course, Alabama's still Alabama and whatnot. So most of except maybe for the Oregon game on Saturday, you had 2 teams that were like in the top 15. I expected it to be a much closer game, and it was a rout.
Yeah.
I mean, you're expecting to do better than that, and the game was just like over before it began. Well, from the end of the first quarter on. And then how do you explain a game where you're up by 20, 25 points in the fourth quarter, and you win by 2 in one of the most weird scoring games I've ever seen?
Right. So some games are just topsy-turvy,
Yeah, but there are games that like there was feel like a sure win, and then you barely hang on. You had to win by 2, and the score was in the 60s.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, cruise along
almost like a basketball score.
Yeah, because your defense was holding up for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden, you just hit the skids. Yeah, like New England would deflate the footballs. Oh, okay, strike that remark from the record.
Yeah.
Okay.
2:53 left to play and counting, third quarter, 17-10. Before we get to your True Sports report, gotta preview some NFL football week 1. What's to come? My Detroit Lions play the Philadelphia Eagles. Your Dallas Cowboys have to play too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Who do they play?
I got looked up again, but it shouldn't be. But I don't think it's going to be much of a win. They are playing against a very hard team, so it doesn't look too promising. And for the Giants, it doesn't look too promising either because you're going to play against the Titans. Jets can go either way. The Jets can go either way. I mean, they are playing the Ravens, but the Ravens are not the Ravens that they used to be. Not since they won, the Super Bowl and whatnot. So, this game can go either way.
The Cowboys play on Sunday night, NBC Sunday Night Football against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski.
Well, Gronkowski, I don't think is playing anymore, so I don't know how it's going to be. I mean, yeah. So you never know. I mean, because I don't know what Brady can do without him.
Right.
Yeah. At least I'm hoping that he doesn't. You get the picture.
Yeah. So yeah,
And
but
luckily,
Tom
a
Brady
slaughter.
is still Tom Brady, and there are other weapons out there for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, so it's deflating footballs. Ooh.
And Clemson just scored a touchdown, 9-yard rushing touchdown by DJ. Trying to get the pronunciation. Galilei. 1:18 left in the third quarter. 23-10 Clemson, extra point coming up. Galilei.
Yeah.
And there's the extra point. It is up and perfect. It's now 24-10. Clemson over Georgia Tech leading. Third quarter, 1:18 left. All right, so time for your true sports report. Lewis, take it away.
Okay, and obviously you were just about 2 seconds ahead of me, but that's okay. All right, so as we mentioned, Clemson is now up 17-10 over GT.
24-10.
24-10. Okay, my page is a little bit delayed. Sims has 138 yards for 1 touchdown. He also has 10 carries on 38 yards, and McCollum has 55 receiving yards. Other games throughout the week go as follows. Pretty good, interesting game by your neck of the woods on Thursday as number 12 Oklahoma State beat Central Michigan, but this was a pretty good score. This was not the blowout everybody thought it was going to be. It was 58-44.
Well, it was 58-44 the final, but 44-15 at halftime, Oklahoma State.
Right.
CMU came back only to fall short.
Yeah. But, it turned to be a lot closer than, what I expected. So anyway.
Yeah, same here. I didn't expect that comeback either by my Chips.
No.
I didn't expect them to win anyway, so I'm not worried.
Right. But I was thinking it was going to be, this is going to be a nightmare for Central Michigan, but not really. So in any event, Richardson had 424 yards and 4 touchdowns. Nicholas III had 26 carries, 72 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Johnson, 133 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Good game here that we had on Thursday as Pitt over West Virginia, 38-31. Slubba had 308 rushing passing yards. Donaldson, 25 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. And Wheaton, 97 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. All right, this wasn't too much of a surprise as Wake Forest, number 22, beat VMI 44-10. No surprise there. Griffiths, 298 yards and 3 touchdowns. Turner, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing. And Morin, 74 receiving yards and a touchdown. Over to Friday, we only had one game in the top 25 as Michigan State handled Western Michigan easily, 35-13. Thorne, 233 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Berger, 120 yards and 1 touchdown. And Coleman, 84 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. Saturday's games. No surprise here, of course. Alabama beat up Utah State 55-0. What a shock. Bryce Young passed for 198 yards and 5 touchdowns. And he rushed for 100 yards and 1 touchdown. Holden, 70 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. This was a good game here. Better than the score indicated, I should say. Ohio State over Notre Dame 21-10. Could have been a little closer, but decent game nonetheless. Stroud had 223 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Henderson had 91 rushing yards. And Igba, 90 receiving yards and a touchdown. I still think Notre Dame should try a little bit harder. Okay, this was the game I was talking about. Georgia all over Oregon, 49-3, an embarrassment if I ever saw one. Bennett, 368 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's passing. Milton, 50 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. And McIntosh, 117 receiving yards. Just completely awful. Yeah. Texas A&M over Sam Houston, 31-0. King was king at 364 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Sorry. Yates, 60 rushing yards on 14 carries. And Smith had 164 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Good game here and an upset of the week, probably, as Florida escaped Utah, which is 7th ranked, 29-26, rising at 216 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Thomas, 115 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. And Kunti, 105 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Not bad at all. Okay, back to the laughing stock games here. As Michigan beat up on Colorado State 51-7. Millen, yeah, I know. Millen, 137 passing yards and a touchdown. Cunham, 76 rushing yards and a touchdown. And Horton, 69 receiving yards and a touchdown. Another laugher here is Oklahoma beat up on UTEP. 45-13. Hardison, 244 passing yards. Gray, 102 rushing yards. And Mims, 81 receiving yards. Another laugher here. Baylor, number 10, walked all over Albany, 69-10. First of all, what were you thinking? Chapin, 214 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Reese, 62 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And Baldwin, 84 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Just what the world needs, another Baldwin. Okay, this was kind of a game that nobody expected, as 13th ranked NC State just hold off to beat East Carolina 21-20. Nobody thought that. Aurea, 267 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Com, 79 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. And Johnson, 90 receiving yards and a touchdown. Another laugher here. USC, which is 14th ranked, beat up on Rice 66-14. Williams, 249 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Montgomery, 99 rushing yards. And Washington had 68 receiving yards. Miami over Bethany Cookman, 70-13. Oh, please. Jones, 243 yards, 1 touchdown. Parrish had 108 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's rushing. And Rexperio, 100 yards even and 1 touchdown. Wisconsin over Illinois State in a blowout, 38-0. Mertz, 219 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Allen, 148 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. And Dyke, 106 yards and 1 touchdown. Cincinnati, which was 19th ranked, over Cincinnati, 23rd ranked, 31-24. Not bad. Bryant, 325 passing yards for 2 touchdowns. Sanders, 117 rushing yards. And Scott, 77 receiving yards. Kentucky over Miami of Ohio, 37-13. Lewis, 303 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Shelton, I should say, 50 rushing yards and a touchdown. Robinson, 136 receiving yards. 21 ranked Ole Miss over Troy, 28-10. Watson, 275 passing yards and a touchdown. Evans, 130 rushing yards on 20 carries, and Barber 60 receiving yards. I don't know if that's in relation to Tiki or Ronnie, but if anything develops, I'll let you know. For you Giant fans out there. All right, this was a very interesting game here. I didn't get a chance to see it because it wasn't in my area. Houston over USTA just barely, 37-35 in 3 overtimes. Harris had a great game, 337 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. He also rushed for 63 yards and 1 touchdown. And Cephas had 106 receiving yards and a touchdown. And finally, BYU over South Florida, of course, 50-21. Hall, 261 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Brooks, 135 rushing yards and a touchdown. And Weaver, 113 receiving yards. All right, so that takes care of that. And if we're back on Saturday, I'll run down the other games we available. And it is now 24-10 with Clemson leading the way. The thing is, though, that they're making some big comments about Alabama, and Alabama's like got to be the biggest favorite in the last 20 years. That's according to all the sports books. But I don't know how anybody thinks the sports books are always right, because they're really not. They make all these predictions like, oh, Alabama's got, they're like favorites of like the best odds, like there are 5-1 favorite, and like Notre Dame was like 12-1 or whatever of the sports books. Sometimes I just think they're just shooting their mouth open, and they have no idea what they're talking about. I mean, everybody think Alabama was going to win last year, and Georgia surprised it all. Yeah. And, of course, now we're getting to the nitty-gritty of the baseball season as we are down to, 4 or 5 weeks? Something of that nature. And I'll say one thing, the Yankees better be careful here, because they only have now like a 4 or 5 game lead in the division. Okay, so here we go. Right now, top 9. Good game here. Guardians and Royals tied at 4. Barlow was pitching, and Palacus is at bat. And the third, Angels are leading the Tigers 5-0. Sorry.
Well, Tyler Alexander sucks ass anyway.
True. Suarez is pitching, and Baez is bat. Dodgers lead the Giants 2-0. Runner on first, 1 out. Henney is pitching, and Brinson is at bat. All the rest are finals, because today was, of course, a holiday, and holidays usually get day games. So it goes like this. Yankees over the Twins 5-2. Thank you. Worcester got the win. Bergill got the loss, and Holmes got the save. In the Battle of the Birds, the Blue Jays over the Orioles 7-3. Sorry. Guzman got the win, and Barnum got the loss. That was game 1. Rays over the Red Sox 4-3. Boucher got the win. Familia got the loss, and Fairbanks got the save. The Brewers over the Rockies 6-4. Hauser got the win. Feltner got the loss, and Williams got the save. The Nationals blanked the Cardinals 6-0. Sanchez got the win. Flattery got the loss, and Thompson got the save. In Game 2, the Blue Jays doubled up on the Orioles 8-4. Barrios got the win, and Aiken got the loss. D-backs over the Padres 5-0. Nelson got the win. Snell got the loss. Gotta watch with Snell. He's tricky. White Sox held off the Mariners 3-2. Lynn got the win. Gonzalez got the loss, and Hendricks got the save. Excuse me. In the Battle of Texas, the Astros hold off the Rangers 1-0. Brown got the win, Perez got the loss, and Montero got the save. Of course, the Astros are probably using trash cans anyway, so, well, yeah, all right. You get the point, people. And, of course, the Astros are just dominating the American League right now, and the Dodgers are dominating the National League. So, with about a month to go, I'm kind of hoping it's Yankees-Dodgers, but the way I see it, I think it might be the Astros and the Dodgers. I mean, yeah, I know we still have a month to go, and I don't want to be presumptuous, but as the odds look like that's how it's going to be. Oh, by the way, the Mets and Pirates were postponed. A doubleheader, I believe, will be scheduled for tomorrow, as it's raining in the area. And it's actually raining here in this area earlier today, so I did not think the Yankees were even going to play today. Well, okay, surprise, they did. And thankfully the Yankees come home because that road trip that we faced was just absolutely brutal. Okay, here we go. With starting off the American League, with that win today, the Yankees are guaranteed to finish no worse than 500, as they are now 81-54. But breathing down their necks, 5 games in back are the Rays at 75-58. In other words, help. Just below them are the Blue Jays at 75-59, 5.5 back. Orioles, decent season, but looks like a long shot here at 71-64 with 10 games back. I doubt it. And the Red Sox, 67-69, 14.5 back, but only 2 games below 500, so it's not terrible. Over to the Central, which this division is a joke, pretty much. Well, you'll see what I mean. Guardians are 68-64, have a half game lead over the Twins at 68-65. The White Sox not far behind either at 68-67, but still rather low in that division. Royals 55-80, 14.5 back, and the Tigers, well, the Tigers are still them at 51-83, 18 back.
51-83. That's Chris Ilitch's fault mostly.
Yeah. I didn't know you wanted me to say that out loud or not.
But also partially Al Avila's fault too.
Yeah. I just didn't want you to think I wanted to say it out loud. Anywho.
51-83, please do.
Okay. In that case, 51-83, 18 back. To the West.
Thank you.
To the West, the Astros are still dominating the West at 87-48. Yuck. Mariners, well, probably make the wild card at this point, but they have a lot of work to do as they're 11 games back at 76-59. The rest of the division is a trash heap with the Rangers at 58-76, 28.5 back, tied with the Angels who need a halo, actually maybe 2 of them, at 20.5 back, and the A's who have no business being in baseball at all, 15-85, 37 back. Move to Vegas or Vancouver or something. Get out of here. All right. The National League. Okay. Here we go. Remember I said the Braves were catching up? Well, look at this, guys. The Mets, who are 85-50, are only having a 1-game lead over the Braves right now at 84-51. Look out. Phillies, decent at 73-61, 11.5 back. Don't know if it's going to be enough to get a wild card spot, though. Marlins, forget it, at 55-78, 29 back. And the Nationals, who are, I think, the worst team in the league right now, are at 48-87 at 37 back. Yeah. My apologies to my co-host, Steve Davidson. Okay. To the Central, the Cardinals, 79-56, have a 7.5 game lead over the Brewers at 71-63. The Cubs, 58-50, 6-78, 22.5 back. Boy. Reds, 53-79, 24.5 back. And the Pirates, 49-84, 29 back. So maybe today was a good day. It was raining. Okay. Dodgers got this division wrapped up. I don't care what anybody else says. There's no way they're going to lose this division at all. They're 92-41. The closest there is the Padres at 19.5 back at 74-62. Forget, you're not catching them. D-backs, 65-69, 27 back and a half back. also 27.5 back. The Giants 64-68. And the Rockies are falling off a cliff at 57-79, 36.5 back. Yeah, it looked like they're a lot closer in the just before the trade deadline, the All-Star game, the Padres were making moves, but since then, they have just fallen off by the wayside. I know. It just seems like, when you think you have it, made and trying to catch up and everything, all hell breaks loose. Just that. That's that awful. And we're now in the fourth quarter at 11:43 to go. All right, so we'll have tomorrow's matchups, and the schedule goes like this. All right, no day games tomorrow, but because we're back on normal schedule. But the Mets will take on the Pirates at 6:35. Well, that's for right now. I don't know when that doubleheader is going to be, but I'm sure it'll be either tomorrow or Wednesday. Stay tuned. That's a 6:35 game. The Red Sox take on the Rays at 6:40. Red Sox. Marlins take on the Phillies at 6:45. Your 7:05 games are the Twins versus the Yankees. The Blue Jays take on the Orioles. 7:40. The Reds take on the Cubs. 7:45. The Nationals. The Nationals take on the Cardinals. 8:10. Guardians take on the Royals. Also 8:10. The Rangers take on the Astros. 8:40. The Brewers take on the Avalanche. At 9:38, the Tigers take on the Angels. 9:40. Oh boy, that's a laugh of a matchup right there. Okay, the D-backs take on the Padres at 9:40. Braves take on the A's also at 9:40. Also 9:40. The White Sox take on the Mariners. At 10:10, the Giants take on the Dodgers. And for those of you with the Tigers-Angels game, I got 2 words to say about that. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, why do I care? I just saw Georgia Tech. I just saw Georgia Tech miserably fail on 4th and 2. They just, oh God, their offense is trash right now.
Yeah. Trash. Okay, I'll begin with the story of the day here. And for those of you who follow tennis, I think you know what I'm talking about, as we have one of the biggest upsets in quite some time. As Rafael Nadal loses, the second player is ousted by American upstart Francis Tiafoe in 4 sets in the round 16 earlier today. I shouldn't really say upstart. I mean, 16th rank isn't terrible. 22nd rank is not terrible. That's still decent, I think. 22nd rank, and was overcome with emotion, buried his hands over his head and cried on the court as he shook hands with Nadal. He sat on the bench, buried his head in a towel as Nadal walked off the court and waved to the crowd. He is the youngest male to reach the quarterfinals, youngest American male since Andy Roddick did it back in 2006. Right, 2006. Tiafoe will face 9th seed Andy Rublev on Wednesday. Tiafoe served and returned better as well. He was able to keep composure, remaining in the moment, never letting the stakes or Nadal get to the best of him. Nadal won their 2 previous matches, winning every set. Heading into today's match, Nadal was 31-2 versus American players since losing to James Blade back in 2005. That's a long time ago, folks. The Greek Freak was held out of today's game as Greece beat Great Britain 93-77 in the Euro Cup games. That was due to knee pain. He felt discomfort in his knee, though it was nothing serious. Said Coach Demetrius Idios said in the post-game interview, a news conference, saying, "We did not want to risk anything, so we did not suit him up today." Greece is 3-0 in group play, earning themselves a spot in the knockout round, which begins on Saturday. Giannis, though, is expected to return to action tomorrow against the Ukraine. That should be easy. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. All right, continue on. Speaking of international basketball, last night on Saturday, actually, Mexico beat the U.S. in the opening game of the America Cup in Group C. Paul Stahl scored 15 points to go with 9 assists. Fabian James scored 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists for Mexico. On the American side, Jeremy Pargo led with 14 points. Norris Cole scored 11 points, and Gary Clark had 12 rebounds. Both teams shot 39%, but the U.S. committed 18 turnovers, while Mexico only committed 13, and was whistled 22 times, as Mexico was only whistled 15. Okay. Now, this does not put the U.S. out of contention, but it does put the pressure on, as they need to win their last 2 games. By the way, this has no effect on the other tournament that's going on for the World Cup of basketball. So this does not affect them at all. The way this tournament works is there are 12 teams broken into 3 groups of 4 teams. The top 2 teams in each group reach the quarterfinals, as well as the 2 out of 3 first place teams. Serena's dream of winning another major came to a halt on Saturday with a loss to Asia Tomljanovic in 3 sets in a near 3-hour match. Williams thanked her parents before breaking down during her post-match interview with Mary Jane Fernandez of ESPN. They're happy tears, I guess. I would not say, and I would not be Serena if there was not Venus. She's the only reason why Serena exists. It's been a fun ride and an incredible journey. Williams explained her impending farewell in an essay in Vogue magazine last month, citing she wanted to focus more on having another child. During the news conference, Williams told reporters she was excited about spending more time with her daughter and explore a different version of her. Not there's anything wrong with the old version of her. However, she told Fernandez that she would not return later. But at her age now, she's going to do it. She better do it in a hurry, because she is now 41. So, it's might be a little bit late to making a comeback, say, in about a few years. It's Miller time in Vancouver as the Canucks signed forward JT Miller to a 7-year, $56 million deal back on Saturday. Miller was the leading scorer for the Canucks last season with 99 points, 67 assists, and 32 goals in 80 games. He was set to become a free agent at the end of the season. The Canucks acquired Miller from the Lightning in 2019 for Marek Marzak for a 3rd-round pick and a 4th-round conditional draft pick. Miller was drafted by my Rangers in 2011. He has 169 goals and 285 assists in his career. He has played for the Rangers, Lightning, and the Canucks, and who has never won a title. Chicago Bulls guard Lonzo Ball is expected to miss training camp and probably the start of the regular season due to pain and discomfort after having meniscus surgery on his left knee back in January. Okay. While a source reiterated that his knee was solid after undergoing the surgery, he continued to express pain while attempting basketball activities as he spent the summer in Los Angeles. Ball will arrive in Chicago next week to undergo further evaluation by the Bulls' training staff, but it's unlikely to participate in training camp as the Bulls report to camp, I believe, on the 30th of this month. Only 3.5 weeks away, people. All right. Now for something really weird, at least for some of you, the G League, the baby brother of the NBA, unveiled its new schedule over the weekend and added a new twist to overtime. Wait till you hear this one, folks. Instead of a time period like its NBA counterpart, the G League will set it with the Elam ending. I'll explain that in a moment. Under the format, the game clock will be turned off and teams must find a target score to win. The target score will be set 7 points to the game score at the end of regulation. Example, if the score is tied at 100 at the end of 4 quarters, target score will be 107 points. The first team to score 7 points overtime wins. Yes, I know, it sounds kind of weird. but this is the 21st century. The G League will also employ the ending at the Showcase in December, where all 30 teams will participate. The fourth quarter of each game will be played to a target score of 25 points added to the team's leading score. Example, after three quarters, if it's 90-85, the target score is 115, and the first team to reach that score wins. Now, if you're familiar with the NBA All-Star Game, they have used this system before. And they liked the idea first, so they kept it. So some of you might be familiar with how this might play out. I just think it's a little bit wacky. Okay, now on to a kind of a tragic, kind of like a sad story here. All soccer matches in Argentina were called off on Saturday after an assassination attempt on the country's vice president, Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner. The AFA made the announcement on Friday night after the attack, which took place in Buenos Aires. De Kirchner arriving at her home when an armed man emerged from the crowd and pointed a gun at her at close range. The pistol was loaded with 5 bullets, was triggered but not aimed correctly. Well, lucky her. A 35-year-old male was arrested September 2nd and it was declared a national holiday by the country's president Alberto Fernandez and the AFA. And the AFA suspended all matches. Just thankfully she's all right. And by the way, both Williams sisters lost in the doubles tournament over the weekend as well. Okay. Dallas Stars signed goaltender Jake Ottenlinger to a 3-year deal worth $12 million, securing the young goaltender whose 64 saves in Game 7 of the playoffs capped the season and became the team's starter. Even with the start in the minors, Ortega finished 13-15-1 record during the regular season, or 13-16 if you don't count shootouts and overtime losses. The 64 saves in the final against the Flames were among 272 he had until he lost Game 7 in overtime. Oh, yeah. And my disappointing story, the Utah Jazz star Donovan Mitchell has been traded to the Cavaliers in a blockbuster deal. Source told ESPN, thanks a lot, you dirty dog. In return, the Jazz will receive Lauri Markkanen, Oshie Agabe, Colin Sexton, and the Cavaliers' unprotected first-round picks in the years 2025, 27, and 29, and swaps in 2026 and 28. Wow. Sexton will sign a 4-year, 72 fully guaranteed deal as part of the sign and trade agreement with the Jazz, as told by Rich Paul of Clutch Sports. Mitchell, a 3-time All-Star, joins a promising lineup with Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen with the Cavaliers. Oh, great. All 4 players are locked in with long-term deals, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately for me. With Mitchell under contract for the next 3 seasons, the Jazz remain committed to a rebuild that started in July with the trade of Rudy Gobert, as he's being thrown to the Wolves for 5 first-round picks. The Jazz now have gathered 13 unprotected or lightly protected draft picks through 2029. By the way, what I meant by thrown to the Wolves is he's going to the Timberwolves. That was just a little bit of a play on right there. I said thrown to the Wolves. You people who have known me for this long know what I meant.
Timberwolves. Nice ring to it.
Yeah, I just thought that, thrown to the Wolves, Just a bad joke. 27-10 now, Clemson at Georgia Tech. I had a feeling it was going to go this way.
Yep.
All
now
right.
it's fourth and long after a sack.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know how many feels about this one, but Mitch Trubisky has been named the captain of the Steelers for Sunday's opening game against the Bengals. Trubisky, captain of the Steelers. There goes the neighborhood. Trubisky is listed as first-string quarterback on their depth chart, landing the job over draft pick Kenny Pickett and backup quarterback Mason Rudolph. Rudolph is listed as the second quarterback. This is the second team quarterback, and Pickett is listed as third. Earlier today, Trubisky was named their starter. He was the favorite in a three-man race entering camp, a former number 2 pick for the Bears in 2016. Trubisky arrived in Pittsburgh a year after being a backup to Josh Allen for the Bills. I know somebody who's a Bills fan. He started all 3 preseason games, compiling 24 out of 34 attempts for 283 yards and 2 touchdowns. He sealed the starting job in the final preseason game when he played the entire first half and closed out the second quarter with a 1-minute, 20-second touchdown drive, completing all 6 attempts for 83 yards. Yeah, there goes Pittsburgh chances for a Super Bowl now. Yuck.
Punt is blocked. Georgia Tech. Clemson has it in the red zone again all of a sudden.
Yeah. The New York Jets cast doubts about their starting quarterback situation for Week 1 opener on Sunday, announcing that Zach Wilson worked out with the team for the first time since August 16th, since he suffered the injury after knee surgery. Coach Robert Saleh said it's possible that Wilson can start Sunday against the Ravens, though it's more realistic he will set out the opener to heal, and I don't blame him. This would set up Joe Wacko Flacco, who was with the Ravens from 2005 to 2018, to start the opener at MetLife Stadium. In football years, that's being like a dinosaur. All signs have pointed to Flacco since Wilson suffered a torn meniscus and a bone bruise in the first preseason game on August 12th, and that was against the Eagles. Yet they end up winning the game anyway.
First and goal.
But Saleh said he had some suspense today. We will see how the knee responds over the next 2 days and make a formal decision by Wednesday. Wilson was expected to miss 2 to 4 weeks of the season, sources said, at the time of the injury. But the Jets did emphasize that Wilson would not play until he was 100%.
Will Shipley from 3 yards out. 33-10, Clemson. 6:27 left, fourth quarter. This one's over.
Pretty much. The Dallas Cowboys agreed to a deal with offensive tackle Jason Peters to join the practice squad, said by Coach Mike McCarthy today. Signing Peters to the practice squad will give him to get into football shape and give the Cowboys more roster flexibility. Peters visited the Yankees last week, visited the Cowboys last week, and was medically cleared. He's been to work on individual drills only for the first practice today. The move comes after losing 8-time Pro Bowler Tyron Smith to a hamstring injury that tore off a bone that required surgery and will keep him out till at least December. Ooh. This gives the Cowboys insurance for their first-round pick. Tyron Smith struggles at left tackle. The McCarthy said the swinging is not a statement about Smith's readiness. This is about adding a future Hall of Famer to your roster, and the Cowboys open against the Bucs on Sunday. Speaking of the Giants, Mike Kafka will be the Giants' new offensive play caller, as said by Coach Brian Daboll today. The Giants will open against the Titans on the road on Sunday. There is more on that. I hate when this happens. Of course, I'm not thinking it's going to be anything good, though. Daboll will stick with the system used in camp and preseason. That puts the responsibility on Kafka, who was hired this season from the Chiefs. I spoke to Mike over the weekend. We were working yesterday. I talked to him today. I have a lot of confidence in him, DeBall said. We will stay with what we did during the preseason. Daboll called plays for the Bills for 4 seasons before being named the Giants head coach last season. Minnesota Twins catcher and former Yankee catcher Gary Sanchez was feeling fortunate Saturday rather, after he nearly walked into a major injury. Sanchez was almost struck in the head on a full swing by teammate Gilberto Consensto in their victory over the White Sox. The incident occurred while the White Sox brought in Kendall Graveman to face Sanchez in the eighth. Sanchez was heading back to the dugout to learn more about the reliever when he was nearly hit by Celesto on the on-deck circle. Ooh. Celesto missed the face of Sanchez by just a few inches. I saw his bat on his shoulder just standing on the on-deck circle, so I went back to the dugout and I didn't notice he was swinging. Sanchez lowered his head after the bat and passed Celesto, leaned back with a incredulous look on his face. He almost hit me, but thank God nothing happened. Sanchez says it was just an accident. Yeah, an accident was going to cost you. Ugh.
Just an accident, right?
Right, yeah, sure.
They think it's not that big.
Well, Andrew Benintendi suffered a fractured right wrist and will need surgery. But the Yankees manager Aaron Boone is hopeful that it will not be a season-ending injury. Boone revealed the injury yesterday in their win over the Rays. Benintendi had broke the hook off his right hamlet bone and was placed on the 10-day injury list with right wrist inflammation after injuring on a swing and missed Friday night's game, which they ended up losing 9-0. Yeah. Benintendi had undergone further testing after X-rays and MRI did not reveal the injury, but there was still some confusion stemming from the diagnosis, since he underwent surgery to have the bone in his right hand removed during his freshman year in college. He had the surgery to remove the hamlet bone, but there could have been some left of that or whatever. He will require surgery on that, said by Boone. However, because the general understanding that the recovery period is short, Benintendi hopes that he will be a contributor later in the season, drawing from his previous experience with that injury. One can only hope. Yeah. Virginia's trip to Old Dominion on Friday got worse in the debut for Brent Pry as their head coach. Players returned to the locker room only to discover that several items were stolen from their lockers during the game. I mean Virginia Tech. Oh boy, wow. Former Tech player Eric Cunan tweeted a reference to the theft shortly after midnight on Saturday morning, and the university responded by saying that they're going to investigate the matter at hand. You think? The Virginia Tech athletic department confirmed that the items were stolen from the locker following the game against Old Dominion on Friday. The statement read the university is working with law enforcement, and of course, Old Dominion declined to comment. Of course they would. It was a comic tragedy from the start. ODU for Virginia Tech, as ODU took the lead into the locker room, and if that wasn't bad enough, and the Virginia Tech coaches were late to return for the second half after being stuck in an elevator. Oh no. Eek. The Hokies were looking to mount a comeback to take the lead, but Garrett Wells threw his third interception of the game and gave Old Dominion the win. Stuck in the elevator. Okay. Actually, that's happened to me once. Ugh. Just the thought of that, though. All right, just to see if I missed anything else. I think I have one more story of just. Well, like I said, that Florida State game on last night, that was a doozy.
Clemson's still beating Georgia Tech 34-10, 5:15 left fourth quarter. Georgia Tech punts the ball out of bounds after their running backs yet continue to stumble every time they run the football.
Yeah. Okay, here's one reason why the Mets might be, losing their grip here. Mad Max left the start on Saturday against the Nationals early yesterday after feeling fatigue on his left side. Scherzer looked sharp on the mound with his fastball clocking at 96 miles an hour, but only lasted 5 innings. As a close game turned to a rout, and the Nationals came in with the victory. Sanchez, after the game, that it was just precaution given the left oblique strain that placed him on the injury list earlier this season. Yeah, it's not a strain, Scherzer said. It was just the left side was feeling tired more than usual. Manager Buck Showalter said that he was hopeful they'd make his next start. He could have continued to pitch, but then we thought, maybe that wouldn't be such a smart move. Scherzer retired the side and getting Marto Vargas to tap the ball back to him to ground out. Upon entering the dugout, he was seen walking down the tunnel towards the clubhouse with the team trainer beside him. Okay, that could be a problem. So we had to think of it that way. And Bryce Young, well, he's off to a strong start for a Heisman Trophy defense. As Saturday, he scored 6 touchdowns and a good old-fashioned dumping of Utah State. He joins Tua Tagovailoa as the only players in Alabama history with at least 6 touchdowns in a single game. Tua scored 7 touchdowns in the game against Ole Miss in 2019. Young completed 18 of 28 passes for 193 yards and 5 touchdowns and no interceptions, and all of his passing touchdowns were in the first half. Young also ran 5 times for 100 yards and a touchdown. No one has been a 2-time Heisman Trophy winner, though, since Archie Griffin back in 1973. That's a long time ago. Here's a good gesture, I believe. The Houston Texans, have invited Uniondale High School football team to their season opener at NRG Stadium next week. The Texans, along with the supermarket chain called Her, are providing the UVDL team with transportation to the game as well as suites for the game. Members of the Texans visited UVDL and spent time with the full team as they prepare for their home opener, which took place this past Friday, their first game since the mass shooting in May. The Texans spent the previous 2 days providing the team with new uniforms. The Texans also announced that they will wear UVDL strong decals on their uniforms in their season opener against the Colts. 21 people were killed in the shooting, including 19 children. Who in the world would do such a thing like that? In the days after the tragic event, the Texans donated $40,000 to the Robb School Memorial Fund, and the players donated $20,000. As for the game itself, Uvedale scored the game winner on a one-handed catch with 12 seconds left, pulling a 34-28 victory. And that's something to be proud of. And just a few more articles here. Well, how close can you get to a no-hitter? White Sox pitcher Dylan Chase entered the 9th inning, hoping to get a no-hitter against the Twins. Well, unfortunately, it came out just a bit short. The White Sox ace had to love getting his no-hitter. It came out short in the 9th. Chase came up one out short for the first no-hitter of his career. Cease got the ovation to start the ninth as he struck out Caleb Hamilton on a slider, then retired Gilberto Celestino to a fly out to center. Luis Arnaz dumped the line single to break up the no-hitter on a 1-1 pitch to end that. After the meeting on the mound, Cease struck out Kyle Garlick to finish his first complete 9-inning game. He threw a 7-inning game shutout versus the Tigers last season. His teammates lined up outside the dugout and high-five Cease off the field. But I guess in this case, if you're putting the expression, he just couldn't seize the moment to get the no-hitter. Oh, sorry.
Touchdown Clemson again.
All right, here's what I was mentioning about the game before. If you like football games, wild football games, boy, do we got one for you. North Carolina and Appalachian State set a combined 62 points in the fourth quarter. North Carolina redshirt freshman Drake May was off to a hot start with 352 passing yards and a combined 5 touchdowns to hold up the Tar Heels as the Stars hold up App State by 2 points, despite North Carolina giving you 40 points in the fourth quarter. I'm like, what? Well, anyway, May, the younger brother of former basketball star Luke, had thrown 9 touchdown passes in his first 2 starts. That's a school record. He also ran for a touchdown against the Mountaineers. Both teams combined for 62 points and 502 yards, which was 1 point away from tying the all-time record set by Navy in North Texas back in 2007. Or to put plainly, your defense had a meltdown.
41-10, Clemson. Will Taylor, a 3-yard touchdown catch. 1:35 left in the fourth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Your defense had a meltdown in that game. I'll say. All right, just look at what else here. 19 p.m. All right, and of course, as I also mentioned yesterday, was also a night game in college football, since that's generally how it is in the first week of the season. And Florida State edged LSU 24-23. LSU had been trying for the extra point, but it was blocked by Florida State. And that's how that ended. Wow.
Good defense.
Yeah. I mean, that shocked me. I'm like, he missed it. I'm like, oh my goodness. All right, so that'll wrap up my report. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Yep. All right. So this was True Sports episode 15 with live coverage of Clemson at Georgia Tech. Clemson already had this one wrapped up, like I just mentioned before. 1:35 left, fourth quarter. Clemson is up 41-10. They're gonna win. They're gonna win easily.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech is terrible. Clemson's just too good. This is an easy mismatch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll talk next Tuesday night, because
All right.
the NFL season starts next week. Also got Monday Night Football, Denver Broncos at Seattle Seahawks, 8:15 on ESPN.
Yes.
All right. So, till then, for Lewis, I'm Taylor. Ta-ta. Hit him with a hind.
Good night, folks.